Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessa and you're watching Get to Know Me Through Astrology, the 9th house. Final video, can you believe it? We made it through a whole year. I started this series back in January of 2021 when we were in Capricorn season. And, you know, in honor of Capricorn season, I started this series analyzing my 10th house, okay? So that is how this all started. I decided to do it month by month, season by season, zodiac sign by zodiac sign, and the house that it represents. And each video is a breakdown of that house and the planets I have in that house, the zodiac sign I have in that house, what the hell is going on in that house, giving you some of my own personal stories and experiences, how I relate it to astrology, how the two go together. And we have made it full circle. We made it to the very last video. I'm a little bit delayed as far as when I'm filming this. I kind of started slacking towards the last half of the year because I was in Europe for a month and I was just slacking, not even gonna lie, I was slacking. And then finally Sagittarius season came up, so I'm filming this in December, so I feel like that it's still valid, you know, it's still valid, but we definitely missed Sagittarius season. So I'm filming this in Capricorn season, but it's okay, it's okay. We're still in December. The new year has not begun. Symbolically speaking, I still feel like this just kind of hits close to home because, you know, when I think of the fact that I started with the 10th house and I'm ending with the 9th house, I just love beginning there. I do, because that point, that midheaven, you know, and I am a public, you know, I have a public platform, you know, I have this, you know, public kind of persona inside of me that I am like putting out into the world, and that's very much a midheaven point, right? So, you know, it coming full circle, and we're now coming back to the midheaven, which is represented by the beginning of the 10th house, which is represented by Capricorn and Saturn energy, and it just kind of starts this cycle of the new year in a really just positive, like, feel-good kind of way, and that's just how I'm feeling about it. Now, I do acknowledge that a lot of how I'm feeling right now does absolutely have to do with the current transits, okay? So, FYI, I'm actually looking at I'm looking at what's going on right now, and Jupiter is about to enter Pisces. It is so freaking close, okay? Jupiter is at 29 degrees Aquarius currently. It's at 29 degrees Aquarius. It's in the 9th house, which is kind of funny because you know, so some synchronistic shit going on right there. Jupiter is still in Aquarius at 29 degrees 58 minutes. It's in the 9th house. Pisces is on the midheaven, okay? And Jupiter is pretty close to the midheaven there. But I want to quickly take a look. Okay, so yeah, the transits right now. So I have Pisces in my 2nd and 3rd house, right on my 3rd house cusp. And it is trining, so I have Jupiter trining my 10th house stellium right now, along with my midheaven. And I do have I have Venus and Libra on my midheaven. I have Libra on my midheaven. So I have Jupiter trining my midheaven. So that's probably why I just have this really euphoric, kind of like feel-good energy right now. And Pisces energy is just like, ugh, I don't know. It's just like you kind of feel like you're on drugs a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm not on drugs, but I feel like I might be on drugs a little bit. Like it just feels that way. And I also have Jupiter trining my Pluto, my moon, my Venus, like pretty much everything that I have going on in the 10th house. And I also have Jupiter sextiling like all the shit that's in my 12th house. So all of my, so I'm a 4th quadrant baby. I've got Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. Like my whole chart is Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and it's all in the 4th quadrant, which is the public. And Yeah, and Jupiter is also sextiling. So this ingress into Pisces is like hitting all the good points right now. It's pretty much hitting all the good points in my chart. Sextiling my Sun, Uranus, Jupiter. My chart ruler is also Jupiter. I have Jupiter on my ascendant. It's also my chart ruler, and currently Jupiter is sextiling my ascendant. So a lot of good things, but it's also squaring my north node. Or no, it's squaring. No, it's not squaring my north node. It's squaring my Chiron. Jupiter is squaring my Chiron. But yeah, so that's what's up right now in this particular moment. So if I'm, if my energy is just kind of coming off in this kind of euphoric, and it's like there's really no reason why I should be this happy and excited, because I literally sold some my crypto investments the other day, like right before. This is actually really fucking funny, and it's like people are so mad. Like some of the YouTube shows that I watch, like I'm reading people's comments, and people are so pissed that the crypto market is like down. It's like down big time, and I sold everything that I had invested in when it was up. And I mean, listen, guys, my investments are small, okay? They're small, they're small, but but I still, made a little bit, I made a little bit of profit, but I ended up selling all of it, because I wanted to reposition stuff, and I wanted to exit out of some investments and enter into new ones. So, so I sold when, like, literally right before everything went down into the negatives, and I sold it. But the funny thing about that is I sold, and then I waited a little bit for it to drop. I waited for some of them to drop. I probably should have waited a little bit longer, because if I had just waited until the end of the day, I could have bought back in when a majority of the things that I wanted to buy were at like negative 10%. So, but I waited only a little bit, when it just kind of started to hit the negatives, and then I bought back in, and I just kind of, I refined my portfolio, I guess you can say. I refined it. And then it just went down, right? So I bought in when it kind of just started hitting the negatives, and then it just kept going back down. And, I guess, like, there was, I kind of knew that something like that could happen, and, like, and I woke up this morning, and it like went down even further, and I just can't help but laugh, because I don't know, like, for some reason, like, I guess the reason why I'm laughing and I'm just feeling like this is because I don't care. Like, the fact that it's going down right now, it really, I guess it's just this, I guess I just have this really, and this could be the Pisces energy, this could be that Jupiter energy, but like, there could be a little bit of fantasy and illusion. I don't know, but at the same time, like, I'm a Scorpio moon, and my instincts, like, I guess the reason why I'm laughing is because I know it's gonna go back up, like, I just know it's gonna go back up, so I'm not worried about it at all. Like, even after I reinvested and everything went down again, it was just like, I guess it was just funny, like, in the beginning, I was kind of having these funky feelings, but then I just started laughing. I don't know. It's just a weird energy. And, like, overall, it's kind of like you actually kind of start to, I guess it depends on what kind of person you are. I'm a Sagittarius rising, and I have Aquarius in my second house. I mean, I think that I thrive off of, like, risk. I think I thrive off of those types of movements, generally speaking. And my whole life has just kind of been this, you know, I feel like I'm always riding some kind of roller coaster. So it's almost like, you know, deciding to get into cryptocurrency and deciding to start, because, like, making the decision to start investing, I actually think for a person like me was really, really smart, because if I'm not investing in something, I'm literally spending my money on bullshit. Like, I'm like, I'm spending my money on bullshit. Like, I'm buying things that I really don't need, because I am such a, like, in the moment, like, instant gratification kind of person, and just kind of riding the wave. And, you know, I have a ton of shit in my 12th house. I have a ton of Sagittarius in my 12th house. And it's just kind of like, oh my God, like, honestly, this Jupiter going into Pisces, this could either be really good for me or this could be really bad for me. And I'm kind of like, I'll take either, just because, like, I've learned, and with the significant amount of Scorpio I have in my chart too, like, I know how to deal with, you know, really depressing circumstances. I know how to deal with so many different, at this point in my life, and that's why it's kind of like fun to film this video, because at this point in my life, like, I just feel like I can ride anything. Like, I just feel like I know how to deal with different types of circumstances. I know how to deal with, like, bullshit. I know how to deal with people just, like, I don't know, just being in my face about dumb things, just being like, okay, but, like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I can deal with, like, depressing situations. I could deal with sad situations. Like, I have really learned the ins and outs of who I am, how my emotions work, how the ebb and flow of my life, just of how things just kind of flow for me. And I enjoy the ride. Like, I like feeling, I really like being in the moment when I'm feeling happy. Like, I've trained myself as a writer, I have trained myself to really be immersed in whatever emotion I'm feeling, and to ride it out, and to feel that emotion as it is, to not try to, like, turn that emotion into something else. Like, I have trained myself, and I have learned how to, like, ride that shit. And if I'm angry, I'm fucking angry. If I'm sad, I'm sad. If I'm happy, I'm happy. And, like, just kind of live in the moment, to just live more and more in the moment of how I'm feeling. And that is what I feel truly, truly, and it took a long time for me to really become confident and to feel good just about knowing that this is my truth, that this is the truth of being an artist, of being a creative person, of being, like, a writer, of just kind of, like, being true to your own spirituality, and being true to, like, you as a person, as a human being. And I just love it. Like, I know this sounds really weird, but it's like I fall in love with myself more and more. And it took you know, after just going through a lot of, like, crazy, crazy relationships, and just, like, you know, I would be so hard on myself if someone, you know, just couldn't deal with me anymore, or didn't want to be in my life because of my temperament. And I can have, you know, I can have quite, like, if I feel betrayed or hurt by you, like, I will say how I feel. I'm very, very straight to the point about how I feel. If I get hurt, you're gonna know that you hurt me. Like, it's very, it's very intense. So, and I feel like, you know, maybe just people are, you know, not everyone, but, well, you know, I don't know, like, you know, there are some people who come into your life and they just don't really know how to deal with that, or they don't know how to handle that, or they don't really know what to do or what to say. And so, you know, the response is, like, disappear, run away, stay out of my way, you know, like, I don't know. But anyway, and yeah, so I am you know, the moment I really just started to accept, the moment I really started to just embrace my like raw Sagittarian side, my Scorpio side, the moment I really started to embrace these sides of me and just be like, this is just who I am, like, and it feels good. It feels good to just be me, and it feels good to just kind of like ride that wave and to ride those emotions and to just like be raw with it and to be real with it, and to feel and to just kind of like feel euphoric and just to feel good. That doesn't mean that, it just, and to stop waiting around for like, like others to catch up, or for others to just kind of, not even to catch up. It's not even about that, because it's like, I'm so open to listening. I am so open to people like telling me how they feel. I want people to tell me how they feel. I want people to be like, hey, like I want, because the thing is, I need to just be me. I need to just like say how I feel regardless. And if people are not going to be who they are and say how they feel, then I can't worry. I can't like stop my momentum because I'm trying to. And that's what I learned with like some relationships that I was in. It's like I kept trying to get people to open up. I kept trying to get these guys to like open up to me and to be more open and to be more like, don't be afraid to fight me, or don't be afraid to like, not physically, but like, don't be afraid to like say how you really feel, like stand up for your beliefs, stand up for your values, stand up for yourself. Like, just because I'm talking shit and just because I'm being me, like, I don't know, like if it hurts you, if it bothers you, like stand up for yourself. So I don't know, like, what else to say. Like, that's just the extent of it, because I can't. And I think the reason why I kept wanting to like get people to like open up and do that and to kind of fight, to be more um like aggressive with me, is because I knew that the path that I was going on, I knew that I wasn't going to stop. I knew that if anything, I was just going to keep riding that wave, because it just feels too good. It feels like, as a Sagittarius, like our like freedom, that's how we feel free. Sagittarians feel free when they feel like they can just come out with it, because the more that we hold things in, the more we hold our emotions in, the more it just eats us alive. Like, it eats us alive. That is what creates depression. That is what just kind of like ultimately brings us down. So it's like, the more that we can express ourselves, the more we feel that we have the freedom to express ourselves and to say how we really feel and to say what we think, the better we feel. Okay, we just feel, it just makes us feel good. And it took me such a long time. Like, I used to be such a closed off person. I used to be so just in my head and in my feels, and I still get that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still go through my periods where I just don't even really want to converse or be around anybody. Like, I just want to be in my feelings, okay? And a lot of the times when I go through those periods of just like being in my feels, being in my depression, I pump out some of the most amazing writing. And I'm just saying that, like, I write poetry. Like, my favorite poetry is poetry that I wrote when I was like in the depths of just like, of my own inner landscape and my own, not always depression, but depression and, sadness, and just kind of, because I just let myself open up to these dimensions in my mind and in my emotions, and there's this part of me that just wants to understand what I'm feeling, and I want to explore where these emotions are coming from. I used to study psychology. I went to college twice for psychology, but then I quit. So psychology is still a huge, psychology and philosophy. I'm totally into Hegel, so if you're into philosophy, Hegel was a huge influence for me. I wanted to get absolute 𝚤𝚤𝚚𝚗 tattooed on my body somewhere, but I never did it, and it means absolute inwardness. So it's like I don't even know if I would be able to. I literally haven't talked about philosophy in I don't even know how long, so it might be difficult for me to explain it on YouTube right now, but, you know, it's just, I don't know, probably just Google Hegel or absolute Innerlichkeit or absolute inwardness, and it's just, it basically just goes off the premise of absolute subjectivity, and how basically our deepest experiences like stem from extreme subjectiveness, and that extreme subjectiveness is basically staked in a pool, in this pool of other people's it's like everybody has their extreme subjective experiences, but it's all staked in this same pool of like consciousness. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, I used to study some of like the really big psychologists like Freud and Jung. I was considered myself more of a Freudian, because of the unconscious and the dream realms, and how we deal with our defense mechanisms. I mean, Carl Jung is definitely more spiritual and archetypal and interesting. Definitely interesting, but I really just like the rawness of Freudian, and I think that has a lot to do with my Scorpio placements. I have Pluto conjunct my moon in Scorpio. So like I just think that, you know, a lot of those unconscious kind of driving points have a lot to do with Scorpio as well. So I think that's why I was definitely felt more of that Freudian element in myself. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just, I don't know, like I think all around, I'm trying to live more in the moment. I am excited, like in this particular moment in time, as I film this, I feel very much in the moment. And I really like that. And it's like, I don't want to talk too much about like, what's my plan for 2022, because I feel like I've been talking about that a lot as I've been doing my Tarot 2022 videos. I feel like, I keep feeling like I owe an explanation as to like why my channel might change, but it's really honestly like, I'm doing this, you know, and yeah, in the beginning, when I first started this channel, I did it for myself, but I also felt like I was doing it for others as well, just because I started it during the COVID pandemic, and I was laid off from my job, and for me, like, I hated the idea of just, like, sitting around my house not doing anything, where maybe I could be doing something that not only I've always been interested in, and I've always wanted to dive deep into, which is tarot and astrology, but also, like, as a way to maybe, like, help other people, you know? But it's like, as things started to progress, you know, I kind of started to realize that there's a lot more to me, right? Basically, like, there's a lot more to who I am than just tarot and astrology. There's a lot more to me as an individual, and there's a lot more to my, like, I don't even really want to say there's a lot more to my dreams and visions, because that was established years ago, about 10 years ago, but I don't think this is the right video to get into that, so let's just say that, you know, this, I don't even know, like, this, you know, this is going to be the last video in this Get to Know Me Through Astrology series, but all I can say right now, I guess, is that I'm not going to quit this channel. I'm still going to make videos. I'm still gonna make tarot videos. I'm still gonna make astrology videos, but I can't say at right now, like, how I'm going to do that, or, like, I have my idea, I have different ideas and stuff, but I really want to focus more on, like, living in the moment, and I want to focus more on just, like, feeling that creative side of me and feeling inspired, and just kind of, like, allowing myself to go where the wind blows, and allowing myself to feel excited about opening myself up to new opportunities, new ideas, new ventures, just in general. I'm just feeling very open. Like, I feel like my heart is more open. I feel like my mind is open. I feel like my soul is open. Like, I just feel so open right now. And I like that. And I don't want to let that stop, Like, I'm just feeling more open and more willing and more just, like, ready to take risks, and more willing to just kind of, like, see where the wind blows me, and just kind of, like, see what I'm capable of, and see and explore more of these new internet terrains and objectives that is like being implemented, especially in terms of, like, decentralized platforms and things that have to do with the world of crypto, and the world of the world of, like, the what do I want to call it? I mean, like, the metaverse is part of it, but that's not even, there's a very specific way that I wanted to explain it. I just feel like, generally speaking, the way that I kind of want to put it, because there's a lot of stuff out there already that people have been, like, on the wagon on, and I'm more interested in just, like, I'm more interested in being open and opening myself up to new ideas and new projects, and people who want to be part, or people who, like, people who are open to a creative, like, open to new creative visions for the future. That's the best way that I can say it right now. I'm interested right now. I feel like I'm mostly interested in, like, meeting people, or getting to know people who are interested in exploring new avenues for, like, NFT projects. NFT projects for emerging businesses or small businesses. Like, that would be the best way for me to explain it right now. Sorry, I'm just gonna do this right now. So, yeah. So that's kind of, like, where I'm at. That is kind of more or less my, part of my, I don't know, my plan for 2022, I guess you can say, is just figuring out how, basically, just kind of getting on wanting to turn my brand. I basically just want to turn my brand and my business into a decentralized, into like a decentralized market, or into a decentralized business exchange. That would be the best way to put it, okay? That is kind of what I am gearing up towards, where, because it's like, I don't even want to be like the owner of my own brand. Like, I want other people's hands in it. So yeah. So that is going to be an interesting concept to explore. So it's hard for me to explain, unless I guess you have some basic foundational knowledge about the crypto world right now, and the world of DeFi and all these decentralized exchanges and organizations, and the NFT world and the metaverse world and things like that. So I don't know, like my sun conjunct Uranus I have been in this state of mind. I was in this state of mind a long time ago, where I was just like ready, as a writer and as a creator. Like, I just remember like being on Tumblr. I used to be obsessed with Tumblr and having a blog there, and I just felt so inspired by Tumblr, and I just felt like I was so ready for the future. Like, I was just so ready. I was so ready to do something new, to do something different, to have my own, contributions and my own self stand out in a new way and in a different way. And like at that point in time, I just felt like I didn't have all the puzzle pieces together. Like, I just felt like it was like this weird energy where I felt like I needed to wait. I felt like I needed to wait until the right time, until other people figured out how to develop the proper tools that I was going to need. It was just like this weird intuitive, it was this weird place where I saw so clearly like what I wanted to create for the future, but I knew I needed to wait. I knew I needed to wait for the right time and for the right moment. So yeah, I don't know. I know that's kind of deep, but also vague and weird maybe to listen to, but I don't know. I guess from an intuitive standpoint, I know exactly what I'm saying. And I think from an intuitive standpoint, the right, those who understand will understand. But if you were on Tumblr a long time ago, I don't know, like, to me, Tumblr was just like the checkpoint. Like, it was just the starting off point for all this like NFT shit. And I don't know, Tumblr, I loved Tumblr when I was younger, but yeah, so it's just this interesting vibe that I'm on, and my head is just in a really funny kind of place, and I'm just kind of going with it. Because it just feels good, and I really feel like I'm in a place right now. I really feel like I am, like, this is what I've been waiting for. I really feel like I'm in this place where this is exactly what I've been waiting for, where I have literally been waiting for new innovative technology to start coming out, where I've literally been waiting for just a more out of the box kind of blueprint of business building, and, you know, and just building in general, not just business, but creative, where I just feel like I've been waiting for these types of platforms to start existing and making themselves known so that I can start to implement my own projects and my own creative abilities and my own ideas that I've literally had sitting in my notebooks from like 10 years ago, you know, as a storyteller and as a creative individual who just so happens to like not know how to create technology. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, just think very like Sun conjunct Uranus in Sagittarius in the 12th house. And that's what you get, you know, you get this just like really imaginative and like creative storyteller, like innovative storyteller. So like it's all very much based on narrative. It's all very much based on narrative. But yeah, that's like literally all I can say right now. And I don't know, like, I guess you just have to, you know, subscribe or just like, you know, watch my videos and just kind of like follow what I'm doing to kind of like put the pieces together, because like, yeah, that's all I can really say. But yeah, tarot and astrology are definitely still in the cards for 2022. So okay, so let's talk about the 9th house. Oh my god. You know what, I should probably actually just quickly get this Aquarius video, at least just to get it start uploading. Let's do that. Yeah, that was kind of a lot, but that's okay. Let me see. It's just gonna take 2 seconds. Where's my Aquarius? Here's my Aquarius. Okay. Okay. So 9th house. So the 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius, Jupiter. The 9th house is the area in your life that deals with, so the most basic things that maybe most people already know. It deals with long distance travel. It deals with culture. It deals with, I just like drew a blank. I'm sorry. It deals with higher education. It deals with philosophy. It deals with your belief system. Okay. So it deals with all of these things. And, you know, I have always, and I have Virgo on my 9th house cusp. So like all of these different interests, all of these, like, whenever I would get really interested in something, whenever, like, the thing is that with me, like, I noticed that I would get so interested, like, I would become really, like, once I became interested in something, like, I would absorb as much as I could within the time frame that I was interested. So if I became interested in a certain subject, like psychology, for instance, like I would get so into it and I would eat it. Like I would overindulge, I guess you could say. Like I would absorb it. I would eat it up. Like I would read and read and read it. And it would be so fascinating to me. And I would be obsessed with it until I wasn't anymore. It's almost like I preferred to have a good understanding of knowledge in many different things than to, you know, not with everything, but there are certain things where it's like I would dive into it only to the extent that I felt like I had a pretty good understanding of that subject, and then I would move on to something else. Okay, and then I would move on to something else. Now, the fact that I do have a large concentration of energy in Scorpio and in Sagittarius definitely does symbolize that there are very specific things in my life that are going to be more long term. Okay, there are definitely very specific subjects and or philosophies or structures or belief systems that I will cater to and continue to dive deep in long term. Okay, that is a clear indication of the stelliums that I have. You know, it was really just about me finding what those things were, right? Finding the right tools, finding the right subjects. But generally speaking, when I do become interested in something, when there's something that sparks my interest, it's like I'm this, like I feed my curiosity and I feed my mind and I feed this desire in me to learn and to understand. Like I have this deep part of me that like wants to understand what I'm learning, wants to understand this subject that I am now interested in. Like I want to know the ins and outs of it. That is a very Virgo type of energy, you know, and it's kind of almost like, you know, partially there is kind of this blessing to having Virgo on my ninth house cusp, because as a Sagittarius rising and as a person whose chart, who is ruled by Jupiter, Sagittarius people and Jupiterian people tend to only look at the big picture, and it's really hard for them to see the details. It's really hard for them to kind of really focus in on the details. And that was an issue for me for the longest time until I went to school for writing. When I really started to, and I did that specifically to discipline myself. I got my bachelor's degree in English creative writing, even though I had been writing since I was 12. But I did that because, number one, that is something that I was always thirsty to do. Psychology and philosophy was just not in the cards for me as far as school is concerned. It was more just like a subject that I was interested in, but it was not long term for me. Writing I can see as something more long term for me, and I also like the fact that I really needed to I needed to discipline myself to really get down to the details of what I was writing, and to really like dive into the little things that you have to do every day that aren't necessarily always fun, like editing and, you know, really getting into sentence structure and, you know, character creation and building the milieu, you know, aka world building and things like that. And, you know, I was such a good student when I went back to school for creative writing. Like I graduated with like high honors, and it was just like, it was exactly what I needed to really identify within myself my own potential. So I see that also as like that Virgo on the cusp of the ninth house, is that, you know, even though I had friends and family, or mostly friends, but even though I had people tell me when I was younger, you know, that I should really consider my writing seriously, or that I should really I should consider maybe submitting my writing to a magazine or newspaper or whatever. For some reason, I just felt like I needed to hear it from like a professional, or I needed to hear it from a professor. I needed to hear that, okay, cool, my friends, you know, like say one thing, but there was still this part of me that was like, no, it's not good enough, or just like, I don't know, like I just felt like it's like I needed to know how good I really was, or I needed to hear it from someone that I actually like respected, or who's like in the field, right? Someone who like knows what it entails to be in that field. So I also kind of see that as that Virgo energy in the ninth house. You know, when you really just kind of like, you really kind of need the details laid out for you as far as like how you can go about this. And with Virgo in the ninth house, and with the ninth house symbolizing, you know, higher education, and just kind of really kind of diving more into these, you know, these structures, it was like I really needed to see that I can work hard to achieve this, okay? So that's how I see that Virgo on the ninth house coming in, okay? And also the fact that Mercury does rule my ninth house also makes a lot of sense. So I think that with Mercury ruling my ninth house, it totally makes sense that I would end up wanting to be a writer, and that writing would be in the cards for me. I also have Mercury in my first house conjunct my ascendant and conjunct Neptune. So, you know, sci-fi, fantasy, oh my god, magical realism, anything mystical or spiritual, like I'm all about it. A lot of my writing and my poetry has a lot of those elements to it. So it just adds up. It makes perfect sense. Now, moving on to, so now, like moving further into my ninth house, I do have Libra, and then Libra crosses my midheaven. And then, you know, typically speaking, when you have Libra on your midheaven, you are, you know, according to the books, like you are probably someone who would do really well in like museums, you know, or like something that has to do with the arts. Also writing, you know, very much like publication type of stuff. But anything that, you know, that has some kind of like visually appealing, or just generally speaking, a very like you know, something Libra on the midheaven. In all honesty, I think of Libra on the midheaven as also like interior decorating. I don't know, my interior decorating, I feel, reflects more my Neptune rather than my Libra. But yeah, like, I mean, I do have a little bit of Pisces in my second house, but I also think of Libra on the midheaven as a very diplomatic kind of like management ability, the ability to negotiate, the ability to like a negotiator or a manager of some kind. And I used to be a manager for the Chicago Elite, a cruise line off the Navy Pier, a private cruise yacht. So yeah, I think that being the manager of a private cruise yacht that booked weddings and like all these really like fancy parties, that is definitely a reflection of my Libra midheaven for sure. What else? Like diplomacy, politics, even possibly Libra on your midheaven. I also see that as like politically driven. I also have now getting into the planet, I have one planet in my ninth house, which is Mars, okay? The Aries planet. I have Mars in Libra. Now, Mars in Libra is actually in its detriment, FYI. And Mars is not necessarily happy in Libra. Now, if you think about it, Aries, kind of the same way that Mercury in Sagittarius is in its detriment. So Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Gemini is opposite of Sagittarius. Oh my god, I can't think right now. Gemini is opposite of Sagittarius. So, and Mercury rules Gemini. So when Mercury is in Sagittarius, it's in its detriment. I just wanted to see something real quick. Yeah. Now, the same thing with Libra and Aries. Libra and Aries are opposite. And the ruler of Aries is Mars. So when Mars is in Libra, it's in its detriment. So I have some detriments in my chart. And Libra wants, okay, so the reason why this is a detriment is because Libra wants harmony. Libra wants balance. Libra wants for things to be like negotiable and balanced and just like, so when you put Mars, the planet of aggression and war and like that fire energy and like fighting for a cause, when you put that in Libra, it's like, it's either going to do one of two things. Either that Libra energy is going to like balance, and it's either going to balance out that aggressive Mars nature, and it's going to want to kind of bring it into a place of you know, kind of balancing out those two sides, or Mars is going to want to break out. Mars is going to want to break out of that harmony and that balance in order to pave the way towards like something groundbreaking and new. So it's like this constant battle. And I did feel this way. Like the best way that I can actually relate this is to my parents, okay? So let's take the example of my parents. So my mom and my dad divorced when I was 5 years old, okay? And for the longest time, I kind of felt this, and my mom and dad are completely opposite. They're total opposite human beings in the way that they behave and the way that they handle their emotions. My dad is like super stoic. He keeps his emotions in. My mom is the complete opposite. Okay, my dad's a Capricorn, my mom's a Pisces. She is very expressive, very emotional. She says how she feels, like super opposite in that regard. And I remember as I was growing up and going into adulthood, like I could feel both of their energies. It's almost like I was able to feel the influence of both of their energies inside me, like battling out. Now, you know, growing up, because they divorced, like I was around, I was exposed to like fighting, and I was exposed to all of that. And just, you know, custody battles, I was exposed to all of that. So there was always, you know, and then growing up in the 90s, the place that my parents come from, my home, my second home, Serbia, Yugoslavia, Croatia, Bosnia, like they were at war. So I felt a lot of that energy within me in terms of like constant fighting and things not being in balance, things being out of balance. So a lot of that was like, there was always this like war going on inside me. And like when you have, and like the best way I can explain it is like, how do you navigate that? How do you navigate it when it feels like there's just this like chaos that's always around you? Like how do you find the right path, or like how, you know, how do you choose how to negotiate that, or how to balance that out? So Libra now finds itself in this position of feeling stuck. It's like Libra now doesn't really know what to do about this. So it's like, if you're going to try to, if for anybody who has Mars in Libra, it's almost like the best way, like when you find yourself in the middle of two opposing forces, and when you find yourself like meeting, it's kind of like that Mars energy is forcing you to pick a route. That Mars energy is forcing you to kind of choose. And that's nearly impossible. If you tell a Libra that they have to choose one side or the other, like that's nearly impossible. So I think the best way to handle that kind of energy is like Mars now needs to be this groundbreaking force. Mars now needs to think of some kind of creative way to perhaps bring a little bit of both of those sides together and to create something new and to pave a new path. Now that is the only, in my mind at this point in time, that is the only way that I can see Mars and Libra creating something really positive, and how that energy of detriment, that energetic detriment of having Mars and Libra, because it's like this constant struggle, because the energy in and of themselves are opposite. You have Libra, the balanced energy, and you have Mars, the one who wants war, the one who wants to like, you know, pick a direction and go with it. So there's this like rebellion kind of taking place here when you have your Mars and Libra. In order to break out of the struggle of having Mars and Libra, you have to take a creative approach. You have to think outside the box. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in limbo. You're going to be stuck in this like place of not knowing what side to pick. And in all honesty, it's like the best way to do is like take a step back, almost to like look objectively, and not to like, maybe for a moment not choose a side, but eventually you're gonna have to choose something in order to break through the restriction and the resistance that's being created by both of these opposing sides. And the best way to do that is to take the good things from both sides, or to take the things that you actually value from this side and from that side, and to create something new and to pave a new way forward that can allow maybe other people who start to feel that way as well, to allow people to believe in something for the future that they can get behind, because they themselves perhaps don't really know which is the best route to take, or they don't want to choose either. They also perhaps want to go based on something that follows more their own values, their own truth, their own belief system and structure. So I hope that makes sense, because that's like really the best way to explain like Mars and Libra. And honestly, like if I were to use like America as an example, and like the political structure in America as an example, like you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans. Okay, so let's attach that to that Libra energy. So Libra represents the scales. I know that's a really funny like hand gesture, but when we look at Libra, we look at the scales, right? We look at the balancing forces. And when we're looking at American politics, those forces is going to be Democrat and it's going to be Republican. Now, in the recent election, I am, there are a lot of people who aren't Democrats or Republicans. We have libertarians, we have the Green Party. Oh my God, what else? I can't even like think of, who was that other, what was that other party? I don't know, I can't think of it right now. But, you have people who don't follow either. Now let's say that maybe you were a Democrat once, or you were a Republican once. I don't know, like, or maybe you have decided, like, you couldn't choose. Let's say, like, you didn't like either of them. Now, let's say you have your Mars in Libra, and you couldn't figure out, I voted for the Green Party, so I feel like that is a reflection of my Mars in Libra, is like, no, I'm not voting for either one of you fools, because it's like, when you have Mars in Libra, it's like, there is this you see things from another angle. You're able to take a step back and see how maybe both sides are an issue. But with Mars, it's like so hard, because it's like you're being forced to take a stance that could perhaps go against two very major stances. So you're taking this like underdog angle. You're taking this other angle. You're taking this other edge. And sometimes that edge is not the most, like, it might not be beneficial, or it might not be, like, even for you, it feels like, I don't know, like you're taking a back seat, or it's really hard to explain. That's not necessarily where Mars wants to be. Mars doesn't want to be taking a backseat approach. Mars wants to be on the front lines. So how would that look if Mars was on the front lines of the Republican Democratic Party and the alchemy of the two? Like, idealistically, I feel like if I'm thinking of the most idealistic version of Mars and Libra in that scenario, it would be some party member, it would be some leader who vows to bring the two parties together and to go for the bull on it, and to run with it, to climb the mountain with it. Because Mars wants to be on the front lines. Mars does not want to be in the background pushing for some other vision that is never going to play out in this lifetime. Or Mars wants to like create a new path as it's walking through the fire, okay? Like, Mars wants to literally walk through the flames of this Democratic Republican, like, shamble, just like chaos. Mars will walk right through that and go to the front, go to the frontier and be like, all right, it's time to lead this into the right direction. So, you know, that's that Emperor energy. It's time to take charge and to bring this together, and it wants to be on the front lines. It doesn't want to be, Mars doesn't necessarily want to be with the Green Party or the Libertarian Party. It wants to be where it's going to be noticed and where things are actually going to start moving forward. So that would be the best way to explain that. What else can I say about Mars in Libra, or Mars in the 9th house? Whew, I honestly just kind of feel like I'm feeling kind of lightheaded from this explanation, but I kind of feel like that's it. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I kind of feel like I captured all of it. Anything that I say, I feel will just be a repetition of something that I already said and I already explained. So I think I'm just going to stop it right there. Honestly, I think I'm going to stop it right there. Yeah, and that's the Mars, and that's a wrap for this series, Get to Know Me Through Astrology. That's kind of a wrap. That's the end of that. But definitely stay tuned for anything that I'm planning on doing on this channel. There is still going to be astrology. There is still going to be tarot. There is going to be videos on, I don't know, different things that I'm involved in or up to, or maybe like more creative videos. I don't really know. So check that out, and just, you know, see what I'm up to. And that's all I can really say. Aquarius is going to be uploaded very soon, 2022 tarot reading, and then I still have one more to film, which is Pisces. I'm going to do that tonight, and I'll have it probably uploaded by tomorrow. But yeah, that's that. End of Get to Know Me Through Astrology series, the 9th house. We're back at the tippy top. We're back to that midheaven. I hope, I don't know, let me, if you want to share with me how this Jupiter moving into Pisces is like triggering you or your chart, or how you're feeling right now, definitely feel free to do that. I'm excited. I'm interested to hear it, because I'm definitely feeling it. So yeah, with that being said, guys, Happy New Year. Be safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.